Hi everyone, it's Peter from PS Sound, and in this video we are going to run around this Suzuki project that we had for so many years, and I know so many people have been asking Pete what's happening with this car. If this is the first time you see this car, then you may want to check out the playlist at the end of the video or in description and go through every single part. We started this project in 2021 when Eddie started working with me, and we wanted to build a car where we would show to people how much installation matters and not necessarily just pumping a lot of expensive equipment into a car. So this is my wife's car, right? So we knew that we could do a lot with it, and that's the other reason why I haven't had a chance to record a video of it, because she uses it all the time, and whenever I use it once a month. I never really have time to walk around and take a video of it, because usually it's in daily use. It's loaded up with all sorts of crap. Plus, there was not much change with this car till last August, when Eddie has done an extensive upgrade on this system. So before we had a Zapco amplifier down on that side, some of you remember, and we had a quite big but shallow sealed enclosure for a JL 13W3. So that changed. That 13W3 could never really stay below the floor level, and it was never practical. We could never see how we would finish it, and it was never finished. The car was not really practical either. So last summer I said, okay, we have a bit of a gap in the calendar. Eddie, if you have a chance, jump on it. I was on holiday and he turned this car around and we upgraded it a little bit. Because before, the equipment was relatively cheap. It was 2.4 grand. Zapco was like 1 grand, the freeway front end was 1 grand, that was 2k, and then the sub was like 400 or maybe a bit more. So let's say 2.5 grand in equipment, and that was it. We were Bluetooth streaming to the Zapco. It was an HNL amp, and many people on the meetings were surprised because everybody was looking for the amplifier, and then whenever they looked to the boot, when I opened it at the end of a demo, they were like, what? Where's the amps? Because they thought that was just a DSP, and I showed it to them that no, that was a DSP amplifier, and they couldn't believe what results we were doing in this car. Yeah, installation matters. This car, I gotta say that this is the show winner always. Whenever we take this car to our local meetings to Brighton, because we don't compete with this car, my missus has no interest to come to these. For her, boring weekends to do competition. Plus, it's not really a cruising car for long distance drives. I mean, it's fun. It's 1.6 petrol. It's nippy. Well, not as much anymore after all the soundproofing, but it's still fun. But on long distance cruises, there's no cruise control and it's a small engine. It's not that much fun. So this car never competes. It would be amazing in competition scene, but again, the whole point of this was not to chase competition expectations. Yes, every single car we build is built to that level, but we wanted to build a car where equipment would be moderate and installation would be crazy. But then Eddie upgraded it, so now it was high time to show it to you. So as you can see now, this is pretty practical. We could keep it relatively level. It's just maybe half an inch further up than the floor level. And we could squeeze in 2 JL 10 TW3s in each side in shoebox size, tiny little enclosures. I gotta say, but that's the crazy thing. Even now, when people hear it on meetings, they freak out. They think we have a 15 in the car or something like that, because it's a small cabin. It was extensively soundproofed throughout, everywhere. We went a bit crazy with that. We probably have, a man's weight loaded into the car in soundproofing, the roof, floor, side cavities, everything, literally everything. Tailgate, you can't name a single part of the car that hasn't been treated. That we have several videos of. We have a video for deadening, we have a video for soundproofing, where we show all the little steps that went into this car to make it quiet. And yeah, when we pump music with this, you shut the door, people can't tell how loud it is inside. So where are the amps? Okay, it's velcroed down, so I can just do this. And that's where we have a Helix P6 Mark II running. No, actually it's the Ultimate. Sorry guys, I was lying. It's the Ultimate. That's what runs the freeway front, and an RCA comes to this ground zero monoblock, which is a bit crazy. We have 1.8 kilowatt for these 210s, but look at that, how shallow these boxes are, like 4-inch. The sub just gets in. Probably they are like, I don't know, well, I can't even put it back with one hand. They're like 0.35 cubic foot, like 10 liter, tiny little sealed boxes, but it still plays very, very low. In a short cabin, it's always difficult to play low, especially when the windows are up, but it gives a lot of energy. It loads the cabin very well. If we have a party tune where the subs are not so crazily EQ'd to blend into the front, so we have less EQ on it and we let the subs play naturally as the trunk loads it, then we have so much energy that actually it can start to, you know, push your chest and grab your throat. It's a bit uncomfortable with these 210s on this amount of power, but it's fun. Many people like it for that reason. You know, not everybody is a purist listening to Diana Krall at 85 dB. Some people want to lose themselves when they just want to forget the word, clear their mind, and then just turn it up and have fun. So there's the back end, nice and simple, 2 amps. We are Bluetooth streaming to the P6 Ultimate with the HD aptX module. That slots into the DSP, nice and simple. We always prepared an optical cable there to the middle, because that at some point we were planning to swap out the head unit. It never happened. There was no need. It's just way too convenient just to connect the phone and stream. The front end changed slightly. So the mid bass is still the same. Some of you remember we had quite an extensive test to try different drivers, and we ended up with the MSS6, which probably became our highest sold mid bass driver over the years, because it's pretty accurate, but it can also take the beating, and it's very tight. It kicks really hard, and we haven't had a single one that would have failed. So that's also very important, because we don't want any car to come back. And that's in true IB. That's bolted onto the wheel arch, breathing outside, and it's been like that for years, and there's absolutely no complaint. We haven't taken these speakers out, but they are, I think, carbon cone anyway, so even if a little bit of moisture goes through the protection from the outside, the speaker doesn't complain. But check out the playlist, you will see how it was installed. In this car we were lucky because there was no electronics, nothing whatsoever in those areas, and the access from the outside is relatively simple. So I don't know if we can see it. No, it's too dark. I can't show you the lure. Oh, actually it's there. You can see there's a black lure with ring guard behind it and whatnot. And it's been working perfectly fine. This car, I think that's probably the biggest selling point of this car, how hard it kicks. That was a time when few people came to listen to it even. I remember, like Robert flew over from Poland, he listened to many of our cars, and when he listened to this at the end, it was a short demo, but I will never forget that he was the first, but many other people said that, you know what, Pete, this car kind of kicks too hard. The kick bass is too hard. People are not used to it. Blue Monday was always the reference in this car, where we can play Blue Monday from New Order, and it's so clean, so upfront, zero resonance, that it just makes everybody reevaluate how kick bass should be in a car. Like in home audio, there's just no resonances, no vibrations, nothing. Up here, the Steg MSS3 stayed the same, doing a great job, playing underneath the dash. There's no box for it, there's no need for a box. We have extensive videos talking about that as well on our Patreon channel when we go into deep detail about mid-range installation. But again, you have a very long video seeing how this was done back in the day in the playlist of this project. And you can see that something changed here, but I think that's a no surprise after the last year's progress we had with these air motion tweeters we have. It was just a no-brainer. We had to put it in because these play day and night compared to what we had before. Yes, the first MSS1, that wasn't an amazing tweeter, it turned out. It was okay, but you know, people are not blown away by them, especially when people didn't know how to tune correctly. It was really not forgiving. But then, yeah, these AMTs, even from a DSP amplifier like what we have at the back, these still sound so good, so clean. Everybody's always like, you know, Pete, how can a system sound so clean? And yeah, now there's just so much happening in this car, so much happening in this car that makes it the crowd winner. Whenever we have a meeting in Brighton, at the end in the group chat, we always ask, you know, what was the most memorable system you had on the day? And most of the times people say, the Suzuki. It's just so underestimated. People expect magical, crazy experience from expensive systems where, you know, people have 10, 15, 20 grand loaded into the car, whereas in this one, installation has just been done to the absolute best possible way, and it shows. Yes, now the equipment double the budget, because before, as I said, we had 2.4, 2.5k. Now it's probably close to double to the time we had everything up. But okay, we also have two subs, you know, that's more money. That monoblock is a bit more. But you could have something like a Helix M1X with a single sub. That would drop the budget. And then it would still be a very acceptable, you know, layout. Yes, we have no rear fill in the car. But even if you had rear fill, and let's say instead of a P6, if you had a V8, especially the new one, it's crazy how much more power it has. Probably that would be the best choice for this system, a V8 Ultimate, and then the extra 2 channels for some rear fill. But, you know, wife is happy with it. This car never really goes anywhere other than she's banging on the street, upsetting everybody. She's a bit vicious. You know, if she hears somebody playing music in a car park, she's going to pull right next to them and she's going to turn it up. People can tell when she's coming. It's always funny because, you know, when you hear a car, you know, coming down the road and then you can hear a bit of bass, you would expect some bald guy, you know, pumped up, you know, ripped and arm hanging out of the window, and then you see a tiny little blonde girl just cruising down the road with loud electronic music. Usually she listens to a lot of house music and club music. Yeah, she likes a banger. But yeah, I just put torchlight above the mid bass so you can see. In this car it was so easy to execute all these things. Like, I think the mid bass was done between me and Eddie in a single day, both sides. Okay, we knew exactly what to do, how to execute it. But that's the great thing. We have so many videos on YouTube, on Patreon as well, showing the whole process of the installation, that we have seen so many people around the world, you know, using the recommendations, and especially when we see these cars as well, how great they perform. It's amazing. Conductor, I will show that. That's where we can control the system, nice and simple. So that's the Suzuki. There's not much more I can talk about it. Unfortunately, I can't take a demo video right now because she's already moaning, come on, we gotta go home. She's hungry, you know, keep your woman happy. At some point I'm gonna take a video of it to you guys, and you can see what it plays like. I gotta mention 26th of July, in a month's time, Saturday, Brighton Marina, right at the end, after the cinema. You go up to the 5th floor, right at the very end you can see the sea, and the seafront. That's where we have our regular meetings. Come around. We will have dozens of sound quality cars, including this. Suzuki is gonna be there, and then everybody is welcome to jump in any car. Usually this car, because it's so simple, I just let people connect to the Helix controller is there, and I just let them play whatever they want. I don't even have to sit in the car and demo it. This was built stupid proof, and you can turn it up to any level, even if it sounds crazy loud. I don't have to worry about anything in this car. Yes, this was designed for wife, you know, and in some cars we have more headroom for especially quieter recordings. When some songs are quiet, we want to make sure that we have an extra 6 dB in the system, which you have to be careful with when you play recordings which were recorded louder. And then you could overdrive the system, and then you can make the speakers struggle. In this one, there's no such problem. Yeah, you can go as loud as you want. Well, mainly because the mid-bass installation is solid. We have a 4-inch mid-range that can take a lot of power. The AMTs are pretty sensitive. And then here we have not only 1 but 2 subs, so we have plenty of headroom. So there you go, guys. I'm not saying that this is the end of this playlist, because many people already thought that it was, because there was no update. We might have something more happening with this car at some point. Now, we had this car for many years. I'm still very happy with it. It's very low maintenance. She's happy. It's a tiny car, easy to park with, easy to run around in town. But I guess, you know, in a few years' time, this car may be up for grabs. And if any of you are interested for a little pocket rocket with all the system all in it, then yeah, maybe in a few years' time we can talk about it if anybody is really interested in UK. Because the car is relatively inexpensive. The work in it, not so much, but of course, we could definitely find an agreement seeing this amazing car. It's pretty low mileage as well. I think we have like 100k miles on it, and we're not putting much in it, like 5k a year, not even that maybe. I'm just throwing the idea out just in case anybody in the future, in a few years' time, wants an amazing PS Sound car, whether it's for the wife or for you, just run around in town. Or, well, some people like it on the motorway as well. I mean, it can go pretty fast. I don't know. Maybe cruise control, if that was retrofitted, that would be much, much better for long distance trips. I'm just too comfortable these days, I guess. So there you go, guys. As I mentioned, check out the playlist at the end. It's going to pop up. You can click on it. You can check out all the videos. You will see a lot what went into this system. If I had to put an hour on it, at least 150 hours at least went into this car. But that's what it takes to build something amazing. And that's what makes the difference. As we always say, installation is number one. Applications of the drivers, get the right applications, good locations, and then tuning is where the magic happens, really. So this is it for this one, guys. Feel free to share it, spread the word of sound quality and the magic that's required to achieve amazing results. All the things I mentioned earlier. And then don't forget, 26th of July, Brighton. And then you can hear this and many other amazing PS Sound cars, and you know, many other people's cars. We have usually like 30-40 people coming with different builds at different levels, so it's great to come along. All right, so this is it for this one, guys. Feel free to comment, share it, subscribe, all the usual things, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.